Good evening, everyone. My name is Cesar Rondina, and welcome to our April 8th, Monday evening video blog post. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first video blog post of spring of 2019. Here in New England, specifically in Connecticut, spring is starting to roll in relatively nice, and I hope wherever you're listening from, it's doing the same for you as well. That's why I kind of played around with the background and changed the color of my shirt, kind of put everybody in the mood for spring. So one of the things I want to say is I'm very in tune to my readers and my listeners, and literally 90% of my blog post topics come out of a result of some suggestions from my readers. And you know, tonight's blog post, I was kind of like undecided as to what I wanted to talk about for this video blog post, because I like my video blog posts to be a little bit more special than my written ones. But you know, a friend of mine, Crystal Harris, who's also an author, and understand that I have 3 monitor screens up, so if I look at something for a reference, I'm not trying to be rude. She made a tweet on her Twitter account, and if you look below or in the bottom of the screen, you could actually see her tweet. And we got into a brief exchange, and I thought her tweet was very interesting because it kind of inspired me and gave me the idea for the topic of tonight's blog post, which is words with stigmas and aspiring others. And I'm going to read her tweet for those that might be visually impaired. And her tweet basically said, "Appreciate your editor. I make mistakes all the time and she corrects them without putting me down. When writing, I don't always catch everything. LOL." Well, I could say one thing as an author, and my spelling is absolutely terrible. I rely heavily on my editor, and even they miss things. It's just part of life. It's just the way things go. So I could really appreciate what she says in her tweet. But however, our subsequent tweet exchanges gave me the thought. And one of the things she said in her tweet is, "She never puts me down." Well, let's think about that for a minute. How many times in your life, maybe at work, your boss may say to you, "What were you thinking? What were you doing? What did you get done?" You know, people speak down to you many times, and we have words in our language that have stigmas attached to them. And what a stigma is, when we're referring to that, when it comes to words, is an underlying meaning of a word. So, just to give you an example, if someone calls you a failure, a loser, how does that make you feel? I mean, the stigma attached to that word is you're basically worthless, you know? And where does this all start? I mean, listen, I raised 3 kids, so maybe you as a parent, when your kids were growing up, how many times was it said to you when you were growing up, or have you said to your children, "What were you thinking?" You know, how does that make the child feel? Are we putting that person in a positive state of mind, or are we putting them in a negative state of mind? Now, you know, on a one single basis, phrase or sentence, you roll off and it doesn't even bother you. But over a period of time, things like this accumulate, and they could cause you to have low self-esteem, low self-worth, and now you feel almost everything that you do, you may or may not be successful at. So what does that cause you to do? It causes you not necessarily to react immediately to something and make a decision. It causes you to constantly second guess yourself. And there's an old phrase that I like that I think makes a lot of sense, and that goes like this: make a decision even if it's wrong. If it's wrong, we could correct it. If it's right, we don't have to worry about it. But to make no decision at all is the biggest mistake. And that makes a lot of sense. So, you know, with that, we have to understand that to aspire people around us, our children, our co-workers, people that may be part of our team members, whatever it might be, a friend, family member, we have to be positive. If someone doesn't do something that's to your liking, we don't need to put them down. You know, this is a big issue for a lot of authors, because what an author needs to understand and realize that there's no such thing as a good or a bad reviewer. And, you know, we all send our books out to acclaimed reviewers to get reviews for our book. And not every one of them is going to give you a 5-star review. That's just simply part of life, because these are opinionated reviews. So, for example, if I write a love story, if I write a murder mystery, or another author does that, the content of that story might be a little different than what someone else feels they like in a murder mystery or a love story. So therefore, they may not give it a 5-star review. Now, the key is a good reviewer may specify that, but they should specify the fact that it's not their type of murder mystery. It's not that what you wrote is bad. It's just that it's not their particular taste. And when they do that, now the author doesn't feel as if he or she did something wrong or something was wrong with their material. It's just that reviewer's opinion. So this throws a lot of authors and writers off. And, you know, we have this in politics all the time where after a debate, everybody is evaluating and bashing one candidate or the other. And because it just simply doesn't meet what they feel is a good debate, but it doesn't mean the candidate was bad or the debate was bad. So the point I'm trying to make is part of what we have to do as human beings is aspiring people, aspiring those around us, whether it be our children, our significant other, our friends, our family, our coworkers. And there's nothing wrong with saying that something wasn't done properly or something wasn't right. So try and remember this phrase. It's not what we say, it's how we say it that matters. So, you know, for example, if I'm working with someone and the project doesn't come out exactly the way I expected, well, there's a couple of things that I need to consider. One, I may not have expressed my expectations properly. So it might be a simple case of a misunderstanding. So how I might approach that is I might say to that person, listen, you did a great job. However, I'm looking for more of something like this. Now, that's going to put them in an open frame of mind to listen to my suggestions and make the changes that are going to make me happy with the end result of the project versus saying, you know, what the hell were you thinking when you did that? Did you like miss the whole point altogether? Now I've put them in a defensive posture. They're in a negative state of mind. Therefore, whatever I hired them to do that results in their creativity has been hampered. So not only am I affecting another person and how they feel, I'm also affecting the project, what I'm paying for. And that basic concept applies to everything in life. Whether it's your children, your significant other, your family members, your friends, and I know I've repeated that and I don't mean to be redundant with it, but these are all people that are involved in your life, and these are the people that you have to consider. Because remember one thing that I'm going to say to you in closing is that you are going to be judged as an individual by how you treat other people. And if you constantly demonialize people, make them question their self-worth, their self-esteem, they're not going to have respect for you as an individual. And everything you do in life is based upon the respect that people have for you. So just keep those thoughts in mind when you think about how you're going to criticize somebody or how you're going to get them to change something they did and how you're going to aspire them to do that. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this Thursday evening video blog post. My blog posts written go out, I said Thursday evening, and I'm going to stand corrected. That's actually Monday evening because I changed the night, and I have to get into that habit myself. So I hope you enjoyed this video blog post. And we do one every week. 3 weeks of the month they're written, 1 week in a month they're video blog posts. And if you go back to the actual post before you clicked on the link, there's all my social media accounts, and they're also on the screen. Please feel free to follow me anywhere you like. I love interacting with people. And by all means, my email address is on the bottom of the screen. Please, if you have any suggestions for a blog post topic, email me, send them along. And I do give credit to people unless they don't want me to. I don't like to take credit for other people's ideas. So, you know, if you don't want me to mention your name, just please state that in your email. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, and God bless.